Jeff Rains coming to you again with a weekly rundown of events around the world. And it has been another exciting week, sometimes not in such a good way. To start off with, oil actually pulled back a little bit this week. And West Texas crude was at 72.53, Brent was at 76.76, and the OPEC basket was at 79.38. Gold rose a little bit this week and settled at $2,809.30, and silver also rose to $31.28. The Baltic Exchange Dry Goods Index rose a little bit also to 735, reversing the trend that it's been going through lately. Instabilities continue all across the world. Reports that I have heard is that a lot of aircraft flights have been flying in and out of the Middle East. It's unclear as to what troops have been moved or what their intended activities will be, where they're directed. The USS America has put into port in Okinawa. The USS George Washington is in Yokosuka, Japan. The Carl Vinson is heading to Laem Chabang, Thailand for a routine port visit. This is after having conducted operations over the past few weeks. The Abraham Lincoln at last report was in its home port of San Diego, California. The Harry S. Truman was conducting operations in the Red Sea. The USS Nimitz is off the coast of Southern California. The USS George H.W. Bush remains in its home port of Norfolk, Virginia. The USS George R. Ford departed Norfolk, Virginia on Friday. No word on where it was heading. The USS Iwo Jima departed Norfolk and is conducting operations off the East Coast. Still no word on USS Ronald Reagan, the Tripoli, or the Wasp. As far as the markets in Europe, the DAX was at 71,732.05. The FTSE was at 8673.96. The CAC 40 was at 7950.17. The IBEX was at 12,368.90. The Baltic Sea Patrols have already started and the Swedish Navy has seized a ship on its way to Russia after the ship drug its anchor and cut the cable between Sweden and Latvia. This is a few weeks after another ship had done the same thing as it was departing the area. In Belarus, a ally of Putin, Lukashenko, won re-election, and as usual, there are many questions as to the legitimacy of the results. European leaders many are courting the new U.S. president, especially Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, Polish President Andrzej Duda, ex-PM, and I apologize for getting some of these names wrong, Mateusz Morawiecki, Reform UK Party leader Nigel Farage, and French Reconquest Party chief Éric Zemmour. The war in Ukraine continues to take its toll on Russian gas exports, but the industry seems to struggle on. While the Ukrainians continue to hit the production facilities, the oil production will drop for a little bit and then work its way right back up. The Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, Alexander Novak, stated that in 2024, Russia exported 33 million tons of liquid natural gas to Europe. And it's a good thing for Russia to be able to continue to afford its military adventures in Ukraine. But it also highlights the dependency of European countries on the Russian natural gas, the Russian energy production. As far as the Ukraine war goes, the North Koreans that were brought in to help out the the Russians have suffered an estimated 4,000 casualties. That is of 11,000 troops that they had there. The North Koreans have since been withdrawn from the Kursk region, although they remain in Russia, conducting exercises or training or whatever. We're not exactly sure. The Russians are not very open about their military activities. In Asia, the Nikkei was at 39,572.49. The SSE index was at 3,250.60. The Hang Seng index was at 20,225.11. The BSE Sensex was at 77,550.96. And the Nifty 50 was at 23,482.15. In the South China Sea, Philippines has suspended a science mission after Chinese vessels harassed their ship, and they returned to their home port. After the new U.S. president announced huge investments in artificial intelligence, and the Chinese announced its own AI program that is called DeepSeek. Also in the Philippines, Manila arrested several Chinese spies that were posing as Taiwanese, which, well, they can get away with that, as you can imagine. In the Middle East, the U.S., since the U.S. has turned over Syria to Al-Qaeda, the U.S. is reportedly sharing intelligence with the new Syrian leadership to counter the ISIS threat. Now, when Syria fell, there was a lot of shakeup in the region as to who's doing what, going where, and why and how. Detention camps housing thousands of ISIS fighters are near collapse. If this happens, it's unclear where these fighters will go or what they will do. And when the Assad regime fell in Syria, many of the militias fled to Iraq and are being housed by Iraqi government, military forces in Iraq. Again, it is unclear what will happen to them. And as the Israeli-Palestinian peace deal takes hold, many Gazans are returning home to their lands, much of which are just piles of rubble at this point. Many of them question if the peace will hold and as they try to rebuild their lives. In Africa, we've had an interesting flare-up. And I have to admit that I was actually rather ignorant of this whole situation, because I thought that the whole Hutu-Tutsi problem had been resolved about 30 years ago when the uprising was put down. Apparently I was wrong. The rebel group called M23, or March 23rd, has been operating for years in between Congo and Rwanda. They're made up of Tutsi rebels, but experts have noted that 3,000 to 4,000 Rwandan troops have been working with them, which is part of the conflict between Congo and Rwanda. Over the past few months, especially this week, they've taken over eastern Congo, the eastern Congo city of Goma, and are threatening to march all the way to Kinshasa on the opposite side of Congo. The rebel group defeated government forces and has forced mercenaries that were hired by the government to leave the country. Along the way, this past week, 700 people have been killed, and their videos are coming out of the mercenaries leaving. It's very unclear. I have sincere doubts that M23 can march all the way across Congo and defeat Kinshasa. However, anything's possible. We will see what happens in the near future. In the Americas, the Dow Jones average was up to 44,544.66. The S&P was down to was at 6040.53, and the Nasdaq was at 19,627.44. In Haiti, in response to the police and residents' crackdown on the gangs have decided to counter, and more violence has ensued recently. As the U.S. southern border has been shut down, Border Patrol agents are being fired upon by from the Mexican side by cartel members. I think that this will be an interesting turn of events, and I don't think that the cartel members want to find out how things are going to work out for them. Near El Paso, Texas, on the Mexican border, on the Mexican side still, officials have stopped digging at a cartel mass grave site, and they had reached 73 bodies, and it appears like there are many more bodies there. A couple weeks ago, there was a shooting in Vermont that killed a Border Patrol agent. And the FBI has made arrests related to this. One of them was a Washington State woman that was associated with the two involved in the killing of the officer. As new administration policies are being implemented, orders are going out to the FBI, to many leaders in the FBI, to retire, resign, or be fired. That should come up Monday, which hopefully I'll have this out here later tonight. It is currently Saturday, the 1st of February. Now, the first showdown with foreign governments taking back their illegal immigrants has already occurred, and the new administration has taken credit for a win. Colombia's president at first refused to allow aircraft to land, but after threats of high tariffs, he changed his mind and agreed to accept those immigrants. I expect additional reversals with other countries that are right now refusing to repatriate their immigrants. I thought this was rather hilarious. The CIA finally admitted that COVID-19 likely originated from the Chinese lab. The new administration's new CIA chief is shaking things up. This revelation was something that anyone with two brain cells to rub together knew within weeks of COVID making its emerging on the world. That it emerged from the Wuhan lab. Now, this revelation, though, it makes me question why we bother funding an organization if they're going to keep misleading the public whenever a bioweapon gets out in the world. However, this appears to be the first move by a new CIA director in an effort to get the section chiefs to come clean about the agency's dirty dealings around the world, and especially with U.S. citizens. Cost-cutting efforts have reached intense limits as the new president is offering generous buyouts for nearly 2 million federal employees. The last thing that I want to note is that there was a collision between a commercial American Airlines flight and an Army helicopter. This occurred near Ronald Reagan National Airport. No survivors were found. Both aircraft crashed into the Potomac River, and it would turn quickly into a recovery effort. While politically motivated finger-pointing is going on, there are no real answers to who is responsible yet. Last year, the Washington Post noted that the whole Northeast corridor was dangerous and changes needed to be made. Past administrations have set up programs and rejected qualified people despite the FAA being desperately understaffed. And in a follow-up to this crash, there was another crash on Thursday night of a medical helicopter, a airlift ambulance in the suburbs of Philadelphia, No survivors on that flight were found either, and also still not a lot of answers as to what happened. There were, I believe, 6 people that were on that aircraft: passenger, parent, and crew, 4 crew members. It is very interesting time of the world, and I hope that everybody is. I hope that you guys are keeping sane and keeping safe and preparing yourself for the challenges ahead. I continue to see a lot of distrust and disdain in the world and in the United States. I hope that you guys are watching as things unfold and as things like the price of oil creeps up, or the price, especially the price of gold, as it creeps up. I find it very interesting. There are lots of challenges that will continue to occur, and like I said, I just hope that you're ready. Go spend some time with your family, friends, and please like and share this video. Help me. I'm trying to get this going, and I sincerely appreciate the help that you guys give me every week. And I'm actually very excited to see how things are going, and I got my goals set, and we'll see how they work out. Much love to everybody. Please stay safe and prepare yourselves for the challenges that are ahead. Thank you much. Have a great rest of your week.